Hello, everyone. We are live tonight at the Beacon of Light podcast, which is also our healing conference through the month of February on Monday nights. And tonight is our second Monday. Can you believe it? It's the second Monday in February. And we have the lovely Miss Erin Baer with us tonight. And I'm so excited because her healing journey is something that I think will really surprise many people. And I can see some people already popping up here live, and that is amazing. So please put where you are at. Again, my name is April, and I am broadcasting down here from Kyle, Texas. And Erin, where are you broadcasting from this evening?
I'm from Broomfield, Colorado.
Excellent. Now, where is that at? Hey, John.
That is north of Denver, and about southeast of Boulder a little bit. So between Boulder and Denver.
Okay, excellent. So in the Colorado area, excellent. Anyone else in that? Shout it out. Looks like that. Hey, John's Kansas. There you are out there. Oh, hey, look, small world. It gets smaller and smaller. Thanks, John, for popping up here. And Lori, thank you for coming and supporting. This is going to be fantastic. So anyone else that comes in here live, we would love to have you. And please ask questions throughout this time, because this healing conference is for y'all, because we know that the most important place to start healing is ourself. A lot of the times we can see other people that what their needs are, and sometimes we want to race over there to help them because we can see it, right? The perspective, we can see, oh my gosh, if they could have this in their life, or if, they started with, I have hiccups, so sorry. If they had journaling or something like that, there would be a way that, healing can happen, when really we just need to plop the mirror right there and be, oh, wait, me first? But it's so much easier to do everybody else first. No, this is that conference where we need to start with the healing here first. All right. Hey, Hope. Woohoo! Broomfield.
Awesome.
I guess that must be close. Yeah, she just moved from Conifer, Colorado. Did I say that right? Conifer?
Yeah, Conifer. Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. All right. So, Miss Erin, she is also an author. And as some of you saw in the, kind of how we set it up to see who our speakers are going to be, that first sentence is like in your face of what's gone on with Erin's life. And yet here she is, beautiful. And she chose pink. I chose the purple today. And we are radiating this healing for y'all. And we want you to understand that this is all for you. Okay, so Erin, tell us a little bit about your book, From Beaten to Badass, and why you picked that title. Kind of share with us a little bit about that, and we're going to dive right into this healing topic.
Great. Thank you so much, April, for having me on this conference. It's so important for people to understand that healing really does start within. It, we can go and we can look for it externally, but reality, we have to put that mirror in front of us, and we definitely need to look within ourselves before we can look otherwise. So again, I'm Erin Baer, and I live in Broomfield, Colorado. I'm an author, speaker, and coach. I wrote the book, you can see in the background, but it's also right here, From Beaten to Badass. It does have an elephant on it, and is very significant to my story. And so as little girls, we grow up and we think we're going to find Mr. Prince Charming. We think he's going to come and save us, and we're going to have the life of our dreams. In reality, that never does happen. Well, for me, at least, it didn't happen. And I really was never told growing up that my body was my body. I was never told how I was supposed to be treated. I was never given that example of what true love or unconditional love was. And so I basically blindly went through my life trying to figure out, is this right? Is this wrong? And we all have that inner compass. And sometimes we ignore it because we think that the mature man or the mature woman in our life is telling us what is supposed to be right. And for me, if you did read the sentence, raped, beaten, bullied, nearly killed, abandoned, abused, and broken, that was definitely me back in 2009, after I left an abusive relationship. And it's something I never thought I would be in. But getting out of it was being in it and getting out of it was the greatest gift of my life. And I would never change it in a million years. I know that sounds interesting or weird or sad or hopeless or cliche or whatever word you want to pick. But for me, really, it taught me life lessons that I wouldn't know otherwise. So I lost my train of thought. Don't you love that?
It's great. It's great, Erin. I know. This concept about when we have these experiences and the impact that comes into it, it is, if we understand it and we leave that victim role behind, we really can see the gift that is happening there. It's not to say that you have to go through these intense tragedies to finally figure out who you are. However, in the trial of the moment, the strength usually comes out. And looking just at the title, From Beaten, I mean, we see something that's beaten, that's broken, that's damaged, that is in need of saving, in need of help, in need of healing. And then all of a sudden to become so strong that you're calling yourself a badass. I mean, okay, something happened there. There's a transformation. And so that part of, we know it, sometimes it doesn't even matter how the brokenness happened. What matters is if we stay there in our brokenness, in our victimhood, and we just cycle the stories. I mean, as a kind of as a side note, some of the times when we go onto Facebook groups that have a lot of people who have dealt with trauma and abuse in their life, many times they just recycle the story, and that is part of the healing. But you have to be very careful to not label and identify yourself as a victim and then place yourself there in almost a comfort cage, and you never really get out to progress so that you can become the badass, right? You kind of just stay there and identify with everyone's pain, and now you got a room full of people in pain. What's going to happen next? And Erin is saying, okay, yeah, those are first steps, but don't stay there. So Erin, how did you go from this tragedy to now into strength? And we've got a Facebook user that says this is so brave. And, why? How? Is it a choice? Like, what happened?
So for me, my relationships were always abusive, and I didn't really realize it until the final straw broke the camel's back. And for many people, they say a woman just kind of freaks out, she went crazy, and that's usually the monster that puts the label on the woman, the one that has been victimized for so long. And so for me, it was really the little girl inside me, and she was like, I'm done. This is not how we're supposed to be treated. This is not how our world or our life is supposed to go. And so it was really the little girl in me that was, stomped out and stomped down for so long that said, no, I'm not gonna let my adult me live this way. And so for me, I really flipped out. I actually came home between a shift, and I went crazy, and I kicked the monster out, and I told him to F off. I said, get the F out. And he left. I mean, he didn't want to leave, but I had a friend actually come, I don't want to say come to my rescue, but came to my side. I called the monster out. And after that, I felt so shattered. I felt like I was in a million pieces, and I never even recognized who I was. I didn't know who I was. And so I really wanted to get back to me. I wanted to take my control back because I had given it up so freely, not realizing that it was something I had learned at 14, 15, 16 years old. And so I was like, enough. Like, I really need to take control. And I discovered along the way that once you take 100% responsibility for everything in your life, regardless of whose fault it is, that's when you can make a change. That's when the difference happens. It's not about putting blame on other people, but taking back your power and taking back that control and saying, it is my responsibility. This is my life, and nobody else is responsible for it. And so I think for people out there that live in the victimhood, they just haven't realized that it's their choice. I mean, they really have that power. And most people stay in victimhood because they're comfortable. It's not that they appreciate being a victim. It's not that they want to be beaten. It's not that they want to be told what to do, but they just don't know other ways to live. And it really comes down to being 100% responsible for the actions and the choices that you make, the decisions. And for me, it was that tipping point of abuse. It was for me saying, get out of my apartment. I may not recognize myself, but I'm going to find myself.
Wow, that is incredible strength. to come to that point, which, surprise anyone who's out there, it's always a choice. You come to a place where sometimes I will say you finally reach that bottom in which you can finally push up off of, because you finally have something now strong to stand on, because there's nothing else to lose. Everything else is gone. So you have to get off, jump, move. And it is always a decision. It comes down to that simple part. I say this kind of in cliche, but just like Glinda as the Good Witch of the North, oh, you had it within you the entire time. It's the truth. We do. How and networking. I'm really glad that you talked about your friend. And I'm really glad that you said your friend wasn't there, with the big S, like, dun, 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 I'm here to save you, because that's not how it is. But it is crucial that we build networks in order to know how to get out, support to get out. We need help. But it's like first responders. They're there at the side. Sometimes they're just listening. They have that empathetic ear. Sometimes they're the one that has the bag. Sometimes they have both. Sometimes just in how they're expressing their day, they become the answer that you needed. You just never know. And I loved how you said you made the choice, kicked him out, and I wanted to find out who I was. How did that journey go for you, Erin?
So I kicked him out, and I really just figured it was going to be a long journey until he had left his cats in my apartment because he couldn't take them with him. It was an excuse to stay kind of in contact with me, kind of keep that control. And I didn't want it. I was like, I've got to let this go. Like, it needs to be, the ties have got to be cut. And so I had called animal control here in Colorado. And I said, this guy, he was beating me. He raped me. I need, he's gone, but his cats are still here. Can I just open the door and let them out? And the woman's like, no, that's animal neglect. I said, but they're not my cats. Can I just open the door and let them out? Like, I don't want anything to do with this guy. This guy beat me and raped me, and I just need the cats out. And she goes, I'm sorry, what did you say? And I said, I just want the cats out. Can you just come get the cats? And she goes, I'm sorry, we need to report this. I'm a mandatory reporter with the state of Colorado. And you just admitted to me that you've been a victim of domestic violence. And I said, no. Like, let's just forget about it. Just come get the cats. And she said, absolutely not. You can hang up, but the police will call you because we have your contact information. And I was scared to death. I was literally like shaking in my skin. So I stayed on hold. It seemed like forever, but it wasn't that long. And the police said, we're going to come to your place of work and we're going to take a report. And so they came to my work, took a report. I started being stalked. Nickels were being thrown at my patio. My tires were being slashed. I was being followed. And it was horrendous. But because of that woman who came and got the cats, I'm alive today. And because of her, it gave me the strength to keep going. And she got me the help I needed. I was able to start seeing a therapist at Family Crisis Center here in Colorado, down in the Castle Rock area. And I met a great therapist. I had no money. I was $18,000 in debt because of this monster. And I realized being a victim isn't the end. That is really just the beginning, because you really do find out what you're made of. And for me, going to group therapy, the hardest thing was trying not to compare my story to others, because we all have a story, regardless.
Wait, are you saying, oh yeah, well, my beatings were worse than yours? Oh yeah, you don't even know how bad like that kind of comparison?
So,
like, what are you talking about?
I was like, oh, mine wasn't that bad. I was downplaying my experience because I thought I had this thing in my head where I was trying to make what he did okay. And because everybody else had it worse than me. So what was I doing here? I didn't deserve to be here. And I had to really dive into that with my therapist. And she said, you cannot do that. Your story is your story, and it is just as powerful as anybody else's. And it is just as important for you to understand that you're the victor of your own life and you have the choice and you are doing what you can, because if you don't stop the cycle now, it will never stop. I mean,
wow.
I just can't give enough credit to the people that really came to my side when I was trying to push everybody away, because I was so ashamed and so guilty, and I just thought I wasn't lovable. I thought I wasn't good enough.
That's that underlying thing. It's okay. That's that underlying part. when we feel such, you know, I call it the dimming of the light, where there are times within abuse, generally speaking, it doesn't happen there it starts. It's the little, it builds, it builds, it builds. And in my life, I compare it to when you take a picture, you don't know if it is dusk or if it's dawn when that sun is right there. Is it headed down? Is it coming up? And suddenly, as you see the twilight start to dim, and then slowly you're now in the darkness, you realized, oh, we weren't coming up for the day. We're going down. Oh, no. But it's degree by degree by degree, because we accept, we tolerate, we accept, we tolerate a little more, we accept, we tolerate. Well, I really probably couldn't be loved enough anyway, so I'll settle. Whether that's the conscious words that come out of your mouth or not, inside something says, okay, I guess I'll just accept that. No, but I really love them because that one time. No, I remember that one time. And we justify, we settle, we adjust, we tolerate, and it is just like that setting sun. And unfortunately, we're going into the deepest, darkest night. And so for you, now you have this therapist that is like that pinpoint, that's shining lights doing the spotlight on you, and you're at first you're like, no, I'm not worthy of it. No, I'm. And what did she have to do to get you to that point of saying, I am this badass, like I'm okay? Like, was there a moment, or was it just things that added up? How did this go?
She really just showed me that I mattered. She really cared. I really truly believe that she loved me, and not in a romantic way, but in like, I'm really concerned for you as a human, and you deserve kindness and love and compassion, and you're broken, but you're so there. You're meant to go through this, you're meant to really find out who you are. And so for me, I didn't want to hear it. I had gone through therapy before in my life, and it's helped, and therapy is wonderful. And I think everybody should go through therapy, regardless of what their circumstances are. And for me to hear what she had to say, I had to take control of everything in my life at that point. So I became a bodybuilder, which meant I controlled everything I ate, everything I lifted, everything I did, every aspect, because I really didn't want to face the mirror. And I figured if I can look really good on the outside, then nobody can hurt me in the inside. If I have muscles and I'm strong and people think I'm this badass on stage, then they won't know the truth inside. I can hide my story and nobody would ever know. And so I got into bodybuilding, and I kept going to therapy, and I, pushed my, what's the word? It's like when your subconsciousness, or your, the things you don't like about yourself. I just kept pushing them down because I was like, oh, it's so ugly. Why would I want to show that? And so I became a bodybuilder, and I kept seeing her, and I controlled every aspect of my world. And it was within my first competition, 6 months later, I did really well. And then I had another show to concentrate on, and that show was my breaking point, because I was competing with some other teammates, and they did really well, and I didn't do as well as they were. And that was where the comparison game really showed up for me. And I realized I've got some healing to do. I've healed my outside. I can fight anybody physically, but emotionally I'm fighting myself, and I need to embrace myself, and I need to understand that it's okay to not be okay.
Oh, wow. It is okay to not be okay. And this okay, this perfection, this pleasing, this performance that so many of us put this pressure on, it's that negative piece, right? Because it's easy to compare. It's easy to fall into those kinds of traps. Lori says something here that's really interesting, and thank you, Lori, for commenting. She says, it's so sad to hear these stories, but by telling your story, you may be helping others to finally feel brave enough to get out on their own situations. And so thank you for sharing your story. Lori, thank you. And Lori is amazing. So Erin, you will love this. Okay, and Lori, you will love this. Just to share, Erin also has her books in many, many shelters, like over 500 shelters. She has her book in. And Lori was an amazing partner for my book, Pinpoints of Light, and placed that book along with Alita Norris's book in over 25 shelters in the Wisconsin area, in the Wisconsin-Madison area, I think it was, or no, Milwaukee area. 25 shelters just within that area. I mean, amazing. And so now Lori helps to volunteer at shelters because of this experience.
That's
so
wonderful.
I mean, we just never know the impact of what can happen. And so John says our pain is meant to help others, and help others out of their situation, that connection. Because isn't it true, Erin, isn't it true that when you see that, you're like, oh my gosh, me too.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at where other people have gone with that, with the pain and the things that they suffered from, and where they went with their healing. And it's not as a comparison, but it's to say, look, they're not sitting wallowing in the victimhood, or they're not hiding behind this amazing bodybuilder body. They did something more that I haven't done yet, but that's a scary place. But
I try to tell people, we don't necessarily go through what we go through for ourselves. We go through what we go through for others, because we are all on this world and planet together, and we're supposed to connect with others. We're supposed to have experiences that can help others. It's not, they always say, don't reinvent the wheel. And so don't try to do it alone. Don't try to live this life by yourself thinking you can figure it out, because no one understands you, because they do. There's so much more out there that you have in common with others, whether it's good or bad or ugly or beautiful. There's a common thread that threads us all together.
Yes. And it is that humanity. It is that love. It is that self-worth. It is that because you have life, you have light, and therefore you are loved. You are enough. Period. My favorite thing ever that changed my life was a story about a friend who delivered her baby. She fell in love immediately, and she said, the baby didn't do anything. I just loved him. That for me was my point where I pushed off to say, oh my gosh, wow. Wait a minute. I've been told I've been loved. I've been told I'm loved. But that point just sunk into me finally. Like, I'm worth it. Not because I can please somebody else or perform for something or become perfect. Just because I have life, period. And it was so freeing to get to that point. And the world has opened up, and it's been amazing. So, Erin, tell us, like, in your book, does it have two, kind of like a front half, kind of like a back half? How does your book work? Is it self-help? Is it memoir? Share with us a little bit about how this story goes in your book.
So it's a memoir. It talks about basically the beginning of my life all the way up to 36 years old, 2018. And so my subtitle is My Journey of Broken Blessings and How I Became My Own Hero. Because as I said at the beginning, we all wait for this knight in shining armor, when really we are the ones that can rescue ourselves. We are the ones who can give us the life that we want and the one that we deserve, along with God, because I'm a big believer in God. And for his mercy, his grace, and all of that, I wouldn't be here today. But my book starts off with me laying the foundation. I lay the foundation out about my childhood, how I was bullied and abandoned, and how I really turned to golf. I've been golfing since I was 2 years old, and golf was definitely the thing that taught me about life. It was the first relationship I had. I gave golf a personification as if it was a person, and I loved it. And it was what got me through my darkest times and my lightest times. And so from the foundation, I go into my golf life. And then from there, you hit the tipping point of abuse. How did I get into abuse? How did I get into this relationship with this monster that just broke me down? And after that chapter, there's an afterthought. And I realized when I was writing that chapter that I was truly on that path to destruction, looking for someone to destroy me because I was allowing it to. And so I talk about the different abuses that happened throughout my life, but I didn't realize it until I wrote that chapter. And then after that, I go into my bodybuilding days and how I regained control and why I was a bodybuilder. And then I go into meeting my husband and my infertility journey. So each chapter talks about the people that God put in my life to teach me a very valuable lesson to help me with any struggles or triumphs that I go through today. So examples are acceptance, so self-acceptance, strength, faith, pride, integrity, confidence, any of those. So each person represents a quality that I possess in my life that I can always hold on to get through any battle that I may be facing. And we're all in a battle. Now it's the decision, do we step into the arena and fight the battle, whether it's invisible or not, or do we sit on the sidelines and let it just happen to us? And, you know, I think that's the biggest thing. We have to make a choice. And Brene Brown talks about the arena and living in the arena. And that's what we have to do. We have to make that choice, take 100% responsibility, and go in as ourselves authentically and unapologetically, because we are who we are and we are enough. I mean, we're more than enough, and we can fight any battle that's laid upon us. It's just a choice we have to make. And so I really try to give credit to all the people that taught me valuable lessons, including the monster. And I'm grateful to every single person that has been on my journey.
Wow. It is empowering to know that it comes to that part where you can, this is where I believe that victory really happens, where you go from that victimhood to then surviving, and then to thriving, and then to becoming that victor. That's true understanding of how forgiveness is, and thanking others for the challenges that have happened, in the sense that, look what I've learned, look how much stronger I've become, and now look where I can help so many, so many other people. And it's not in a prideful way. It's not in a, oh my gosh, I'm amazing way. It's in a, let me reach and help, right? Or let me crawl down in the hole and sit, because I'm here to listen, to get it. And however the networking helps, one thing you said a few times is that we're not alone in this. We are not alone in this journey. So please, please, if anything tonight, reach out, get those supporters, find your network, and reach to us. Contact Erin, contact myself. She's got all of the information down there from her book, From Beaten to Badass, and www.beatentobadass.com. That is her website, so you'll be able to reach her there. Myself, Facebook message, anything. You're not alone, and you're not meant to heal by yourself. You're meant to heal together. Erin has talked about the value of therapy and what happened for her, and that is so empowering. So before we close up anything this evening, what is one of the messages that you want to share tonight that maybe you haven't yet quite shared?
I think everybody needs to know that they're already a badass. They just have to look inside and find it. You know, you're not defined by your circumstances. You are a badass. You just have to get back up. And as long as you get up more times than you get knocked down, you've won. And sometimes it feels like we're in the dark and there's no light. But I try to tell the people that sponsor my book to shelters is that you can be the light in someone else's darkness, because they need to know that somebody else cares, because that could be enough for them to realize that they do matter, and they find the hope and the strength and the courage to keep going. Because there were several times where I'm like, what am I doing? You know, why is this happening to me? And you know what? I learned that you can't ask, why is this happening to me? Or why me? I usually rephrase it and I say, why not me? I'm supposed to be the one to share my story, to help others realize that they're not alone. Because my story is not about me. It's about everybody else in the world and how I can help make them realize that they're a badass. And I just think it really comes down to knowing your worth and knowing that we come in this world alone and we die alone. That's what matters. As long as you're happy with who you are and what you stand for, you're a badass.
Anyone have any questions for Erin? I mean, that is incredible. That's exactly this point. Thank you, everybody, for coming here this evening, for being a part of this. John, Lori, Pam, so many of you have made incredible comments along the way, and we're so grateful. know that you can reach out anytime. We'll put down Erin's link to her book. You can be found where, Erin, that book?
You can go to beaten2badass.com. There's a tab for the book on the top of the website. And so you can just go there. And if you order from my website, then I can sign it for you. And I also am going to go ahead and do a free Kindle edition. Some people like to read it on the go. So this week, starting Wednesday at midnight, so Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, till Friday, they can get the download of the Kindle version on Amazon. But if you want a hard copy and you want it signed with maybe some badass gear, I would be more than happy to do that for you if you go to my website, because I can't control Amazon, but I can control the website.
All right, so you've got choices. Definitely go through her website first and see what you can do there. Get a signature copy on Kindle. She said, hey, you get a free one on Wednesday through Friday, so that's a great opportunity as well. And thank you so much. This sharing has been awesome. Thank you, Lori. Hope Flansburgh, she's like, how can we get a hold of Erin? And so, yes, go right to that website. It's scrolling on the ticker underneath. And when we close this down, I'll make sure that I have all of the links. And so you'll have to look through some of the comments. They should be kind of up towards the top of it. And please, we want all of you guys to really see what she's done. And on Wednesday, this is another exciting thing, her blog post, I'm going to share it on my blog, which is on my website, www.apriltribejuke.com. And that blog will be posted through the week. And I'm so excited that she has that opportunity. She shares great things in that and wonderful pictures as well, because we want these stories to go out to show there's value, there's worth, there's importance there. You bet, everybody. You've been just wonderful tonight. Thank you so much. Hope says, I am there. Awesome. Thanks so much, awesome. Hope. She's a fellow Coloradoan. Is that how you say it, Coloradoan?
Yeah. I guess I'm called an implant, but I came here like 11 years ago before the whole implant thing started. So I feel like I've earned my keep. There
you go. You've earned those winters there, right? Well, thank you, everybody. And Erin, wonderful. It's been amazing for this evening. And again, we look forward to anyone connecting with her. Please share your thoughts through the week. We'd love to see how many people continue to look through this, because we want her words and voice to really continue to shout out there and support, because being that beacon of light across so many miles of darkness really is that pinpoint of hope that can lead them to so many amazing things. And mostly it leads them to themselves, where they can find that strength to overcome anything. We'll see you guys. Be blessed out there.
Thank you, April.
You're welcome. Everybody.